Look closely at this iris. What you are seeing is the result of a recent experiment where researchers used an AI to reconstruct human thoughts, translating raw neural activity into images without the subject speaking a single word. This process ignores traditional communication. It doesn't need your voice or a keyboard. It taps directly into the electrical patterns of the brain. Currently, capturing these signals requires a room-sized scanner like this MRI. The massive hardware involved keeps this technology confined to shielded research environments. But feeling safe behind these walls assumes that technology will stay large. It confuses the current size of a machine with the long-term trajectory of the intelligence powering it. This timeline illustrates the proximity countdown, the persistent historical trend of the physical distance between computers and our bodies shrinking towards zero. In the 1960s, these red units represented the mainframe era. Computers were massive objects that required entire rooms, physically isolated from the people using them. By the late 1970s, the TRS-80 showed the first major collapse in distance. Machines migrated from secure labs onto the personal furniture in our homes. This vintage mobile phone represents the move to the pocket. Eventually, the hardware reached the wrist, crossing the final barrier to rest directly against our skin. Once a machine is in constant contact with your body, the only remaining space to occupy is the internal mind, shifting from external wearables to neurointerfaces. The transition from a multi-ton magnet to a portable headband follows the same path every other piece of consumer technology has taken for the last 60 years. If you imagine a specific image, neurons fire in your cortex. These particles of light symbolize that raw thought as a detectable biological signal. This 4-panel display shows how scanners record those signals. The yellow highlights pinpoint blood flow and electrical activity, the physical evidence of a thought occurring. An AI model takes these neural sparks and maps them into a latent space. This is a massive digital grid where the machine sorts biological signatures against its own library of images. The system doesn't experience the thought itself. It simply recognizes a neural fingerprint it has seen before in its training data and produces the corresponding image. Once the system understands which neural patterns correspond to which visual ideas, your unspoken thoughts are rendered as plain text for the machine to read. Consumer-grade neuro-wearables are replacing the need for massive hospital magnets. This sleek black headband with its cyan light strip uses miniaturized sensors to achieve what used to require an entire room. These devices use high-density EEG to monitor brain activity right through the skull, bypassing the need for any surgical intervention. As this chart shows, the accuracy of portable devices has increased significantly since 2020. Better software now filters out the background noise that once made small sensors unreliable. The hardware barrier has been dismantled. The only remaining step is the wide-scale rollout to the consumer market. This technology will likely arrive as a lifestyle tool, a frictionless way to navigate virtual reality, or increase your productivity by typing with your thoughts. But that convenience allows for the passive extraction of your imagination. It creates a system where your intents are harvested before you act. Human privacy has always relied on the isolation of the mind. Much like this single cyan window in a dark city, our thoughts have been the last sanctuary. That sanctuary is now being connected to the network. This is the driving force behind neurorights, a movement to establish legal protections that prevent our mental data from being treated as a public resource. The proximity countdown is nearly at zero. We have to establish the boundaries of cognitive liberty before the hardware reaches our shelves.